Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with Dexter New Blood, this time on to episode number 4 of the series. Last time we had some pretty great stuff. We had Matt's body finally, once and for all, being diminished by Dexter. He helped like the Seneca people ceremoniously, I think it's ceremoniously, or at least properly according to their tradition, get rid of the white deer carcass that had been hanging in the butcher shop as evidence for days on end. So he helped them get rid of that, and they actually burned it away and let the smoke and the ashes and everything wither away. So then that gave them the idea to actually fully get rid of it in like a non-traceable, non-detectable kind of way, and he chucked Matt's pieces into a furnace, and the ashes rained down on the town in the creepiest way possible. So that was a thing. Then at the very end, I think we had Matt's dad in that episode, in like a bit more of like a prominent way as well, like him actually being involved with the police and him kind of being devastated as a father would, and him just kind of turned to alcoholism at certain points too, so that was a thing. So he was there, and he was kind of insistent on being a part of the investigation, actually doing everything he could, and he did the whole DNA testing that actually confirmed that it was actually Matt's DNA at the scene, the blood on the rock and everything. So that happened, and then at the very end, at the very end, he was, drunk off he was drunk off his socks at the very end, but then he also did kind of claim to Dexter that he actually did speak to Matt on like FaceTime or on like a video call or something, so he actually saw Matt's face and stuff. So either some really freaky crap is going on, at the hands of at the hands of the other killer out there and everything, and that's something I want to address too. I think so. I think obviously I went back through that episode in the edit too, and yeah, I think initially I actually didn't fully recognize the eyes, because I think I only saw that scene once, and it kind of pretty much like the actual face shots kind of flew by and everything, as they were probably meant to try and tease the identity. But I think upon closer inspection, I think those eyes do really do kind of actually kind of seem more familiar, and do bear like a more familiar resemblance to Clancy Brown's eyes. So I don't want to be kind of throwing any hands or accusations or whatever here, but I kind of do wonder if maybe there's actually more going on with I think his name is Kyle, right? I think Matt's dad's name is Kyle. I'm pretty sure. Did I write that down anywhere? Don't know if I wrote that down anywhere, but I think I'm pretty sure his name. Oh, Kurt, not Kyle. Kurt Caldwell. Matt's father, Kurt Caldwell. So I don't know if there's anything more to Kurt Caldwell than literally meets the eye. Pun intended. But yeah, I think in those shots, because at this point, I think, at least for me, Clancy Brown is definitely like an actor with one of those recognizable faces and facial features. I think his eyes definitely kind of have that kind of recognizable kind of tang or ting to them. Recognizable tang, but I don't even know what that means, but it's got a certain air of kind of like familiarity to them, let's say. So it did like seem like them. So I'm kind of wondering if that might be the twist, maybe that like Kurt. Because I think Kurt, like Matt did promise Dexter, like my dad will rain down hell on you. But then, of course, in his position, he would be aggressive and scared, and he'd be yelling anything. So I think he could have easily meant anything. But then he also maybe I don't know if he actually deep down like would have known if his dad did have kind of murderous tendencies or even criminal tendencies of some kind. But then if it is Kurt, then there's a hell of a story there to be explored. So I can't wait to get into that one. But then if it's not, then can't wait to see what the actual twist might be. Maybe it's someone who actually looks like Kurt, or just I don't know. But I think the face in those shots did seem kind of wrinkled too. So I think it could be Kurt, it could be someone else. I don't know. But I think in those shots, looking back, I think it did kind of ring to me like, oh, it kind of looks like Clancy Brown there, and he's meant to be playing Kurt in this series. So I don't know, but either way, the killer's out there. So I thought maybe they like that killer, or maybe someone else could have been. Either way, they could be messing with Matt, maybe actually sending him like videos of Matt that Matt recorded, and then Kurt in his drunken state kind of misinterprets them as actual video calling, and then or maybe it's like someone else calls him with some other kind of hack or a glitch or something. But either way, I think most likely case is just Kurt being drunk and misinterpreting his own grief, and then maybe even looking back through videos or stuff that he has of Matt on his phone, and misinterpreting them as actual live footage of Matt, and maybe just kind of like not really thinking about it properly. So I don't know, maybe it's something to read into, maybe it's not. But either way, that happened. But yeah, there's a killer out there, the motel killer, the girl that he kidnapped. From way back when, he kept her kind of in captivity, and he kept her kind of locked up in the hotel room, and he gave her really dodgy champagne and chocolate, which he threw up, and then I think afterwards he let her loose, only to gun her down with a sniper rifle later on too, and then took her back into some kind of like a surgical room, and I think drained her body. I think he plugged in a bunch of like different kind of needles and shit into her, and then actually kind of took all the blood out, and then put some other kind of liquid in, so God knows what he's doing to her. I think maybe like taxidermying, or I don't know, maybe actually turning her into something else. I don't know. There's a lot of fucked up shit you could be doing, but that happens. So that's the thing. So I think now the whole Matt stuff is presumably out of the way, with the ashes being all that's left and everything, and those being untraceable. But now there's an actual killer in town that Dexter needs to worry about. So back to the good old days of Dexter, when there was when there was like another actual serial killer, or like just like a killer in general on the loose that Dexter need to worry about, and use his crafty skills and his likewise criminal senses to actually kind of to hone them and detect them and everything. So I guess that will be the new story going forward now. So that'll be fun. So we had those. We had Harrison in school. He kind of didn't necessarily befriend the other kind of jocks, but he did kind of get like interact with them, and he did kind of get to know them and everything. And turns out that they're arseholes. They are they were tricking Ethan into thinking that he was actually talking to a girl, and they were catfishing him and sending him news and everything, and then he was sending them anime like anime stuff and his own artwork and everything. Like, he was being relatively normal compared to them, like them having gotten news from God knows where and sending them to him, and then he was sending them artwork and everything, and then in the end Harrison revealed the truth to him, and then and then Ethan fired back a lovely kind of NSFW kind of goat picture with one of the main dudes in them. So that happened, and then he helped Ethan, I guess, in that situation, so that was cool. So now they kind of sparked their own friendship, and then turns out Ethan actually is like a kind of like a secretively somewhat violent kind of dude. He has a whole sketchbook of sketchbook of pictures of the other kids being violently harmed and killed and maimed and everything, and even little self-portraits of him dressed up as a Punisher and everything with guns and everything. So God knows where they're going to go with that, or what that's going to lead to. Hopefully nothing dramatic, because I don't think we need that in the story. But that's the thing. That's definitely a thing. So there's that, and then of course Harrison joined the I think the school boxing club. I think the wrestling team. I think it might be the wrestling team. I think either wrestling or boxing. Either one of those two. So he was gonna see those guys on the mat, and I think probably wrestling. Yeah, I think so. He's gonna see those guys on the mat and make his stance known there as well. So that was cool. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have from the last one. So yeah, I think going forward now, I think there might be, I think this episode might bring the whole Matt stuff to a close, because now they can't even find the body. So like now it's like I think they might have to come to the conclusion that his body is gone too, or his body was disposed of. So now they have no way to trace it back, or no way to no other suspects either. So now they might have to bring it to a close, and then that's probably gonna dig Kurt into an even deeper hole of depression, that his son has now presumably been murdered, but then also his body is nowhere to be found. So yeah, not the easiest time for him as a father, but yeah, either way, I think now the story must move on, and now we have to kind of shift focus onto the motel killer a bit more, see who else he lures into his trap, and then hopefully this next person actually is detected by Dexter, and hopefully Dexter catches on before it's too late and everything. So yeah, so I think now like a good old Dexter story of him actually finding another killer and having to stop them from harming innocent people. So yeah, but that's pretty much all I have on this one. And then and there was also the stuff from the school of the Harrison passing the test so well the first time that they didn't believe him and thought he must be cheating, so then they made him retake it a second time, and he scored even higher. So he held up both middle fingers to the education system that accused him. So that was also cool. That was cool too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, on to New Blood, episode 4 of the season. So yeah, let's go.
murdered Matt for shooting.
Oh, he thinks it was a Seneca. Okay.
And Angela is protecting him.
Dexter's still doing this in real life, right? He's not just watching nothing happen. He's still doing it himself in real life.
He's a cool off.
Yeah. Oh, Deb in a suit. Oh, imaginary Deb in a suit. Yeah.
All the way.
Until he gets to you. But how would he find out that Dexter did it, though? How would he find out that Dexter really did it? My peripheral vision isn't that good today, so thank God for that.
He was celebrating.
We still don't know what he actually saw in that video. Like, if it was actually Matt, if he was talking to him, if he was saying something. I feel like those details are still important, you know.
Most of the guys on the team are fuck nuggets.
Your Aunt Deb used to say that. Fuck nuggets.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Oh God, thank God he remembers the cursing.
Except for the swears.
Oh yeah, thank God he remembers the cursing, and that especially of his Aunt Deb. His Aunt Deb's cursing. Oh, she looks so proud. Ghost Deb looks so proud. The ghost of Deborah Morgan could not be prouder that her nephew remembers her language. Yeah. The one time Deborah won't be yelling at him for keeping around. She's so proud of him for having grown up to be this, to be a mini Deb as well as a mini Dex.
Looked like a hotel room. He said he was in New York City.
New York City.
I've tried his cell a number of times. It just goes straight to voicemail. So if you could help me.
How did you get a hold of him? Surely that kind of a call should be in your history too.
Now, he does this sometimes. He goes on benders, and I won't hear from him for weeks or even months.
Well, you heard from him last night.
That's
Yeah, 'cause he
concerning.
wanted money, which I wouldn't give him.
We've met
We
once.
had a couple of drinks and we slept together and he was amazing.
Oh, they've already hit the hay. They already hit the hay, huh?
I know you're a reporter.
Oh
I had a
damn.
reporter. A rich, white, entitled, cisgender guy illegally shoots a rare white buck on reservation land and then up and disappears? Of course I am.
Yeah, this is the kind of story that will just blow over. Yeah, like nothing else. Do podcasters really have that kind of access to these stories? Like, isn't it like, would they usually not get details that are left behind, or once it's actually closed off and confirmed, they report on it? Oh, who's this? Another woman? Is he? If he's the motel killer, is he luring another woman, another young woman, into his motel of death? Audrey. Oh yeah, she sent him links to the thing. Is it on Spotify? Son of Sam. Whoa! The Trinity Killer! The Trinity Killer! That's who killed your mum!
And welcome to Mary Fucking Kill.
She's covered the Trinity Killer?
I have a doozy of an episode for you.
Does Harrison remember? Does he know about Trinity and what he did? Because he was too young to remember that, right? Or...
But this chick is a mother. A gorgeous girl next door beauty with a picture-perfect family. She has a young baby who is in the fucking room when she dies. How fucked up is that kid now?
Oh no. Oh no, Rita, oh that's it, they even got her picture. That's what it's a... Does Harrison remember this stuff then? So he doesn't know... He doesn't remember exactly how it went down, but he remembers that he was a part of it and that he lost his mother to him.
Maybe you can smell my goats.
That is a dose of PTSD we did not need. Iron Lake High School on lockdown. Oh no. Is it a shooting?
All I know is there are multiple injuries and Harrison is involved.
Harrison? No, he can't be doing it. I think he must be helping, right? Harrison's got to be helping people. There's no way he would hurt people. Not even after listening to that podcast would not surely not make him hurt people. Oh jeez, these bullets.
When we were alone, he told me he wanted to get revenge
Oh,
on these
Ethan.
kids that had been bullying him.
Ethan wanted...
Bring guns to school, and
Of course they were going to go that route.
that's when he pulled a knife out of his backpack.
He had a backup weapon.
He just came right at me, and that's when I got his leg.
Oh, he got the leg. Oh, did he get the femoral artery?
His jeans and
Did he get the femoral artery just like Trinity? Did he hear about it on the
I didn't mean to
podcast?
hurt him like that, Dad.
Oh no.
Angela? It's a kill list.
A kill list. Was he... That's a kill list. How? Are all the kids on there? All the kids who have done something to him? I think he must have heard about the femoral artery on the podcast and used that on Ethan. That is so fuck. God damn it.
You ever have a situation scare the shit out of you like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you do to deal?
He
I
kills
wrap bad
people.
guys in plastic and kill them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Nothing he can talk about. Nothing legal. Nothing ethical.
Did he knock you down first?
I don't.
Do you remember if he was holding the knife in his
Oh,
left
for
or right?
Christ's sake, Dex.
Fucking hand. I was attacked. It's not every day that type of shit happens.
I know.
Stop analyzing your own son.
Sorry. The stab wound doesn't match the story he told Angela. Something's off.
They get rattled when crazy shit happens.
I hope you're right.
He lost so much blood he could have died if the paramedics hadn't gotten there as quickly as they did.
I'm sorry.
No one's ever gonna buy anything from my store again. We have to sell our house and leave.
Okay,
And
alright.
Ethan's probably going to juvie. Why didn't you come to us?
Beth, it's not his fault.
If you had just told me, I could have helped.
You should know we appreciate what you did. It could have been a lot worse. But we don't ever want to see you again.
Wow.
You understand?
Well, that tone changed very quickly, didn't it? Like, oh, we appreciate it, and we're just angry right now because of what's going on, but don't you ever fucking come near our faces again. That tone changed very quickly. Damn. That's the knife. I mean, they said it didn't go too far in.
I'm a cop, and I messed up knowing that Audrey was meant to be a victim of Ethan's.
Oh, Audrey was on the list too, really? Oh, I mean, she didn't do anything to help because she thought it was just... Yeah.
I sold them to Ethan's father a couple of months
Oh,
ago.
she can take... You only can take pictures, Audrey. What are you going to do? Put them on Twitter or
Along with
Facebook?
that knife.
Oh, nice at the scene of the crime, his natural freaking element. And Obi-Wan, Deb Obi is already here.
You're Ethan, I'm Harrison. Show me what happened.
Actually, is he gonna get stabbed by his own imagination?
That was always your wet dream.
Oh, oh God, oh.
And you can't stand the fact that he's living it. Just fucking pussy.
Oh, there's the stab. There's the stab you wanted. Oh.
Blood doesn't lie.
Oh. Oh, see, oh, that's how it would happen. Oh, so he slashed the leg. He slashed the leg first.
Stop it!
So then, where did the stab wound on the waist come from then? If he attacked first. Oh, he's smart. Oh, that smart son of a bitch. That smarty pants. Oh.
Ethan was the one trying to get away.
I mean, maybe he still.
Harrison attacked him from behind.
Maybe he did it to immobilize him though.
Then he stabbed himself.
Maybe Ethan still did what he was gonna do, but then he wouldn't attack Ethan randomly.
He wanted to know what it felt like.
Oh no, the Rita stuff. Don't tell me the Trinity don't tell me that fucking podcast is what's gonna seep his way into his
It's almost
brain.
like he fit the code.
Oh, I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this. No, come on, one podcast, really, one podcast. That's all it takes to break him. One freaking podcast.
He even eats like me.
With big mouthfuls of food, he's shoving everything all at once.
So did you notice anything going on with Ethan?
I didn't know anything until Ethan got me alone at school.
That's a lie. He showed you the pictures beforehand.
I got you a little something. Keeping our town safe.
Whoa, a drone?
Shit,
A drone?
a drone.
Damn.
Really cool. Thanks again, Kurt.
Yeah, go well. Thank you. Thank you, son.
Okay. Well, a whole lot's drone for that. Okay.
We're moving forward with our case against Ethan, and I don't know if you want me to put you in touch with a lawyer, if you want to look into a civil case, or...
He and his family are going through enough.
If I were in your position, I don't know if I could be so compassionate.
See another
You're a
choice.
good person, Jim.
I posted their pics on my Mary fucking Kill Insta feed. You'd be surprised what 800,000 amateur sleuths can dig up in a matter of hours. She left because her mom was a pill popper with a rotating door of shitty boyfriends.
Oh, so she just ran away to...
So she was just another runaway,
Yeah.
just like everybody said.
Oh, so she just ran away for a better situation. Oh.
It's a good thing. So whoever these women are, They are most definitely missing.
I'm willing to bet they were
And
killed at the
no one is
motel.
looking for them except for you.
I'm willing to bet they were killed in that motel.
Let me in on your theory. I mean, you said it yourself. You need resources, and I've got an army of armchair detectives.
I thought you wanted to do the Matt Caldwell story.
You know, every great podcast starts about one thing and then ends up somewhere completely unexpected.
Maybe so.
Mr. Caldwell, sorry to bother you, but a few customers have mentioned the girl camped out in our...
I'll take care of it.
Really? I don't mind.
The girl camped out? Where does Kurt work? What does he do? There's a whole office to himself. Must be a pretty high position. Oh, he works at a diner. He works at the diner. Okay. Huh. Oh, it's that same girl.
I will get that bus fare. I swear. Just give me your address, and I'll send it back to you as soon as I get to my mom's.
I can't keep giving you money, sweetheart. Waitress at the diner. Make your own money. What do you say?
I just need bus fare. Can you just help me with that?
Yeah, I think I speak for all of us when I say how grateful we are that you're part of our family.
Oh gosh. Oh god, no. Why is it always a speech? God damn it. Why is it always a speech? What is your obsession with public speaking?
I don't really hold anything against Ethan.
Oh shit, damn. Didn't expect that, huh?
And he ended up stabbing me.
Oh no, he's gonna take her back to the motel. Kurt's taking her back to the motel, he's gotta be. This is the same place, isn't it? I think he comes up out on the balcony and he takes firing shots. Yeah, that's the same trapdoor that she opened. It's Kurt. Nice. Kurt is the motel killer. Oh, the knife's inside the torch. A shaving blade. A shaving razor. Isn't that what Trinity used as well?
Trinity used a straight razor to kill Ethan.
Oh my god.
He has my dark passenger.
Oh no. No, come on, no, just one podcast, please. No, come on. God, a straight razor, the femoral, Ethan's femoral artery. God damn it. Why you do this? Oh god. Oh boy, oh god, was that episode a whirlwind? Oh boy, was that episode a whirlwind. He has the dark passenger, so I mean, he found the Trinity podcast. I think I did not listen. I thought the Trinity thing on Molly's podcast was going to be like a cool Easter egg. I thought it was something only we would see. I didn't think he'd find it. I didn't think he'd click onto it. I didn't think he'd notice it. I didn't think he'd listen to it. I thought it would show him scrolling up and down, and Trinity would pop up, and then maybe someone else like. I thought, and maybe like Bay Harbor Butcher, but with like a question mark would show up. Because I thought that would be a cool Easter egg. Maybe he actually scrolls through, then he finds Trinity, and then that's like a cool Easter egg for audiences. Like, oh, Trinity Killer, yeah, that's who we remember him from back in season 4. And then maybe like Bay Harbor Butcher, but then because they don't know who that is, maybe, or because I mean they thought it was Dokes. So maybe then either a picture of the question mark, or because of like how LaGuerta tried to relaunch the investigation, but then nothing really happened with it. So either that, or maybe a picture of Dokes people pop up, and then that would be Bay Harbor Butchers, and maybe then that would be cool Easter eggs. I didn't think they'd go into this shit. I didn't think they'd bring it back up. I didn't think they'd actually delve back into it in like an actual story relevant kind of way, but they did in the worst, most twisted way imaginable. They did it. The sons of bitches did it. So yeah, and then I think then like and then he actually clicks onto it, and he actually listens to it, and then he's actually listening to the details, and he skips forward ahead, and he finds out the whole Rita thing and stuff, and that kind of creates, at least for me, that kind of creates more questions of like, okay, how much does he know? How much does he remember? How much is he gonna recognize? What is he? How's this gonna affect him and everything? Because then I still remember, I vividly remember back in I think season 5 it was when they actually established that because Harrison was much older than Dexter was compared to him, when the kind of tragedy struck and trauma happened, I think he like Harrison was too young to retain any of those details. He was too young to remember anything. So then I think they established way back then that this wouldn't affect him in the same way, and that Dexter wouldn't have to worry, and then Harrison would grow up to be like a normal, happy, healthy boy. But now they're just bringing it back, and it's like, oh, now like so now then he clicks onto the Trinity podcast specifically, and he listens to the podcast, and then, details start to emerge, and he starts to recognize it, and then he actually intentionally skips ahead, and then he gets to the part about Rita, and then he actually, I think, then like the more he hears, the more his eyes well up, and he actually starts to become personally affected by this. But then it's like, how much does he remember? How much does he actually recognize out of this? And he gets to Rita's, and even Rita's face, like her picture, obviously is matched up, because then they would include the actual the picture of the victims with the killer as well. So then Rita's face pops up, and then it's like, and then they even go into detail about how, oh, that's not even the most twisted part for this one. The woman, the final woman, his final victim was a woman who was also a mother, and then her baby was in the room soaked in blood, and then it was like, oh, how twisted and how damaged must that kid be now? So listening to all of this just kind of riles up some, other kind of feelings for Harrison in the meantime as well, so that doesn't help. So yeah, I mean, just seeing this now, and even like kind of Dexter, I think I mean, on the one hand, I really do feel like any kind of dramatization of this, or even any kind of negative connotation to this, or any kind of negative kind of perspective on this might be stemming from Dexter's anxiety towards Harrison really becoming like him. I think because I think it was the even in the main show, it was the longest fear of Dexter's for the longest time, that that he worked and tried so hard to never involve Harrison in this kind of lifestyle, in this kind of activity or lifestyle, because then he worked so hard to keep Harrison safe, but more importantly away from all this, because he really didn't want Harrison to actually find out about this or become involved in any way. So now the fact that nightmare is becoming a reality is even more hard for him to worry about. But then, I think because again Dexter is still the lead of the show, he's still the main star of the show, so then the majority of the story and any kind of portrayal of the characters would be witnessed through his lens, through his perspective. So then if he's worried about Harrison lying, or about Harrison actually being as dark as he thinks he is, then obviously the story will focus on the story. The story will focus on that perspective through his eyes. I think I can't help but wonder if that really is all it takes, because then I think this is even the first time actually. I mean, not necessarily the first time, because then that makes you wonder. Did he back in the cabin when those kids asked him what happened to his birth mother? Did he not say anything because he couldn't remember, or did he not say anything because he actually does remember, but then the details are too traumatic, or maybe he was worried that they would actually know who she was, or they'd actually remember, because then Trinity was still I think Trinity actually traveled throughout the country too. He actually went to different states and different cities, and it was part of his that kind of home building kind of charity thing he had too. He actually get little plaques he had from all the homes he built were actually trophies, because then he traveled throughout different cities building homes, and even those homes like the foundations for those homes were actually involved in his final murder of actually burying the little boys too. He buried them alive and everything. So he traveled throughout the country doing all this stuff, so then people would know that way, and then that'll be it'll be like an unsolved case, like an unsolved murder. So maybe the kids would know, maybe they'll recognize. Maybe Trinity is still like a an actual a noticeable name. So then I kind of wonder can't help but wonder if he didn't say anything because he actually couldn't remember, or maybe because he does remember, but then he's worried about them realizing, or maybe he's actually he doesn't want to bring that up because it's too traumatic, but then he still finds out on the podcast anyway. So that really doesn't help his case. So yeah, just one. I mean, that's the only other hint we've had. But I think looking back, I think it's definitely a more kind of softcore hint we could have had compared to anything else we could have had that actually hints towards this, hints towards him actively killing or harming someone in the same way as Trinity. I think because otherwise it feels like listening to this podcast one time is what did it, but then of course in the moment it shows him actively reacting to this and actually actively taking it in, actively being kind of reminded of what he lost and how he lost it and how traumatic it all was to him and everything. But then again, I feel like that kind of maybe like negates or maybe changes what they established in the main show with him being too young to retain it. So, and I mean, maybe those diagnoses and maybe those kind of statements aren't always 100% true. Maybe it's like, oh, for now maybe it's more like, oh, for now we don't think it's gonna affect him, but then go forward in time. And also, he lost his birth mother, then his dad left his life and he didn't see him for 10 years, then he also lost his stepmother too. He just can't stop losing people, so death is like the one depressing kind of constant in his life too. So actually constantly losing people and constantly watching them die or leave his life in some way, it is also like a really terrible thing to go through. So it's just like, he just like, maybe he just feels like he attracts death no matter where he goes, like he just loses everyone close to him. So I don't fucking know, but yeah, no. So he, yeah. So he, and I think he had like a straight razor. I think that was the final twist. That was the final twist at the end too. The fact that he didn't even use like a regular blade, he actually used a straight razor, which is exactly what Trinity used. So I think his Dark Passenger is exactly like Dexter's. Like it's a direct callback to what broke him in the first place. Like Dexter's one was actually seeing his mother get dismembered and left to rot, and then Harrison's is actually watching his mother bleed out in a bathtub. And Jesus, this stuff is deep. God, yeah. But then I figured. As soon as they mentioned like the actual deep cut to the thigh, and then. Because then they even I think even Molly mentioned in her podcast like the woman gets a deep cut to her thigh in the bathtub and then she bleeds out and dies and it's like a lot of blood and all that kind of stuff. So I think she mentioned those details in the actual podcast, and then of course later on I think it was either Harrison mentioning it or like someone else mentioning it. Mentioning like the fact that there was actually like a deep cut to a deep cut to the actual thigh, and then he actually bled out and he almost passed out and everything. So then that kind of reminded me, that has femoral artery written all over it. That is a fucking Trinity tactic right there. That's a Trinity technique right there. Femoral artery, bleed out, and then that's death. So yeah, wow, he really went, like for he really went for the nostalgia right there. He really went for like a nostalgia level kill right there. So, or like an attack. Because then again, I think that's another thing too. I feel like there can't really be like a 100% chance he was trying to kill him, right? I think he knew, but then the only reason he went for that move is because he heard about it on the podcast. He heard about it on the podcast, and then that move came back into his mind, Maybe he only told like a half truth. Maybe like, cause we know Ethan was still like Ethan still had violent thoughts. He still had violent kind of thoughts. He hadn't acted on them yet, but he still had violent thoughts. He still wanted to do all those things. He had the artwork and everything to back it up, and even thinking his dad had all those weapons and ammunition bought from the hunting place and everything. So he had the means and the motivation to do it. So maybe he didn't bring the weapons into school just yet. Maybe he didn't. I mean, even Harrison said he mentioned bringing the weapons in tomorrow or like the next day or something. So maybe that part of the story still went through. Maybe he still called Harrison in like to a private conversation to actually talk to him about this. So then maybe that kind of stuff still went down. But then so then maybe Harrison really didn't try and do that. Maybe he actually only wanted to like immobilize him or to to disable him or something. So then maybe he actually then like takes him down that way. But then of course he reads about he hears about Trinity's kills on the podcast. He remembers that. He goes for the slash, and then it ends up being a deep cut to the femoral artery, and then it ends up being that, and then afterwards he realizes what he's done, and then he actually tries to cover it up as self-defense too, because otherwise then it's actually attempted murder. So then he actually tries to. He actually goes for the stab on himself too. So yeah, I think I'm kind of. I mean, for now, I'm kind of. Not that I want to give him like too much of a free pass or anything, but then it's also the fact that like I feel like I feel like he genuinely could have been trying to stop Ethan too. Maybe he actually did, like maybe Ethan actually did tell him about the shooting plans, and maybe he actually did try and it was a thing, but maybe just not to the extent that Harrison actually said, or maybe it wasn't actually that serious. But then he still got angry thinking about it. Maybe he still got angry thinking about Ethan trying to hurt other people and actually having a kill list, and maybe even Audrey being on the list. Maybe he even showed him the actual kill list. Maybe he actually even showed him the kill list, and he saw Audrey on that list, and he couldn't actually imagine Ethan hurting her or anything. So maybe he then got angry and he literally lashed out and did that. But then the fact that he had a straight razor too, the fact that he actually had a signature weapon of Trinity's, like he dude literally went as nostalgic as he could go. you know, and just God, he really went far. He really went far. So he really is just like father, like son, just like father, like son. So, yeah, good God, yeah. So then Ethan was in hospital afterwards too, and I think even Ethan's parents were kind of civil to begin with, and then his mother was the first to break down and become a bit more kind of angry and hostile, and then his father had the 360th of turns. His father had the 360th turns. Like his father had a bit more kind of a bit more time actually spent trying to be, you know, quiet and calm and collected, and afterwards he just turned around and quickly said, "Don't you ever come back to us again." So that one kind of surprised me. But then again, that scene, I think it makes sense because like the parents are still angry and they're upset, and like the parents themselves are being vilified so much because they're the ones who are responsible for their child, and they're the ones who actually, you know, responsible for what he does and how he acts and everything. So then the fact that their son goes and does this, and this is what's being reported to the school and to the town and everything, and now they're being yelled at, they're being screamed, they're being, you know, like kind of, you know, like mobbed out of town and everything. So then it's like even after what they're being told, and then what the town has been told that Ethan tried to do, now Ethan's gonna go to juvie, and he's gonna not gonna see his parents for a while again, and the parents are gonna have to leave and do some stuff. So like their family is in tatters and in ruins, and they don't know what to do, and then their son's in hospital in deep dire medical conditions. So things aren't easy for them. Too many of those instances involve like neglectful parents, like trying to cover that up with, oh, it's like, you know, like they spend all their time by themselves and they don't have any friends, so it's like, you know, like we just kind of leave them to their own devices. And it's like, well, this is what happens when you leave them to their own devices too much, like when you don't bother, when you don't actually, you know, when we don't bother, when you don't care enough, then this is usually kind of what happens. Like they just kind of get away with stuff. So yeah, but I mean, obviously there's other cases too, like kids genuinely do harmless stuff, but then they still kind of get in trouble for it. But then with this, it's like, you know, I think you know, Ethan had like the means and the motivation, and he just kind of like, and I think Ethan also was himself like an actual victim of like intense and very, very kind of like lengthy kind of bullying and victimization and just horrid stuff too. So it's like, you know, he had like a lot of pent up rage and anger, and he just, you know, but I mean, on the other hand, I am kind of glad, because I think when they mentioned like the school was on lockdown and there was like an incident and like multiple people injured and Harrison was involved, I thought, oh my God, how did he did it? He brought a gun into school and he started firing at it and people got hurt, and now Harrison, I figured it like Harrison was probably involved with stopping him and trying to actually put him down and everything, but then with this, it's trying to be a whole lot worse. So yeah, but yeah, now I think with Dexter going forward, I think he's gonna have to address it because he's found the razor. He's gonna have to address the razor again, but then that truth is gonna come out that he actually did, you know, he did sneak through, he did like comb through Harrison's room while he was away. So then that there is an invasion of privacy, but then he's also finding a deadly weapon. So I think it's like a needed invasion of privacy. But then the truth is gonna come out that Dexter never trusted Harrison to begin with, because then the truth is gonna come out like, okay, so like. Because then I think he, you know, like knowing Harrison and Dexter, he's not gonna be able to chalk it up to like a general kind of room inspection, or that like, I was worried you were doing drugs or doing something bad. But then it's like gonna be like, you know, you doubted me from the beginning, you thought I was lying, you never trusted me, and you know, and then it's gonna be like a double twist too, like, oh, you don't trust me, you were gone for 10 years and you're lying to everyone about who you are. So it's gonna be like a whole thing. So I'm pretty sure next episode is either gonna open up. And either way, it's gonna have like a really intense scene between them, like an argument or a discussion or something. But then it's either gonna open up with it, or it's gonna have it happening like a quarter of the way or halfway through the episode. So that's gonna be something to look forward to. But it's gonna feature some heavy discussions about like invasion of privacy and even like possible murder and why he lied, and you know, like how that's against the law too. Like he actively lied to a police officer, to multiple police officers, and then he actually like you know, broke the law that way too. So. Because then I'm not entirely sure what this would count as either. Because then obviously like the actual stab wound he gave himself was actual framing it as self-defense. So then I think the other one would be attempted murder. I think that would be attempted murder. But then I don't know if he would actually chalk it up to him not really realizing what he was doing, or even him like, because he did say he didn't mean to. I think he genuinely didn't mean to cut him in that way or to do it. But then he actually had the razor, he cut it, and then he even at the way Dexter analyzed it too, Ethan fit the code. He was he wanted to hurt people. I think he wanted to, and he had the means to. But then he you know, trusting at least half of Harrison's story would mean he really was gonna actually get his dad's weapons and his guns and actually bring them to school and actually go on like a rampage and everything. So I think that would be trusting at least half of Harrison's story about Ethan, so then that would mean that he actually was going after someone who fit the code, someone who's going to hurt people, someone who's going to potentially kill them too with deadly weapons and everything, so just, oh god, so now, I mean, and then yeah, I think even Dexter then, even in his like, in his reimagination of the actual kind of attack happening, he even said like, oh, Harrison did it just to feel something, but then, again, I really don't, I'm not entirely sure that Harrison is that far gone, like, he listened to one podcast and he has some pretty, traumatic memories of that night of what happened. I think maybe they manifested more as he got older. Maybe they actually manifested more. I think they manifested more as he got older, but then also as he got older, people around him started dying. Like his dad was the first to go. Like, no, his mother was the first to go, and he knew next to nothing about how she died as he grew up. So maybe he actually researched it as he got older. Then his dad leaves him. And he's gone for 10 years. Then he finds out his aunt Deborah died too. So then he can't even visit her anymore because her body's at the bottom of the ocean, and he can't even talk to her anymore. So he loses Aunt Deb. And then his stepmother dies too, so the more he dies, the more he loses people, the more that breaks him down, the more that wears him down. He just keeps thinking about death and loss and grief and all that kind of stuff, so that kind of weighs him down and everything. So then, I don't know if that would maybe like lead to him wanting to feel what it's like to take something instead of having things taken from him constantly. Maybe that's the mindset he's leaning into, like, oh, I'm tired of having things taken away from me, so now I want to take something from it, like take something for myself and actually feel like what it's like to lose or... I don't know, just, I mean, that mindset alone turns him into a bit more of a serial killer too. Maybe he's actually, tired of just, I don't fucking know, but, yeah, no, God, just, yeah, no, so, that's going to prompt some conversations between Dexter and Harrison, and it's going to be like a whole big kind of deal, and everything, so, oh God, this has taken the one turn I didn't expect. I thought we were going to jump from Matt and his body and the whole investigation to Dexter trying to take down the motel killer, who we now know is Kurt. So I thought we were going straight from that to this, but now that they've brought Harrison back into this, of course they couldn't just do like a happy go. Of course they couldn't just do like a happy and fun and calm and human, grounded, sweet kind of story with Harrison and Angela and Audrey and all that kind of stuff. But no, of course they had to go and turn Harrison into a fucking murderer. So, or even like an attempted murderer and stuff. So, oh, good gracious, yeah. So yeah, that happened. That's the thing. So Harrison just. Well, I guess the one sweet thing about Harrison is the fact that he remembers Deb's F-bombs. He remembers her swearing. I think if there's one thing he remembers about his sweet Aunt Deb, is her swearing and her particular fondness for the ever-loving F-bomb. So that one was a sweet callback, and of course, fuck nuggets too. Being, I mean, again, oh god, that entire main series is rife with Deborah swearing, and honestly, it's one of the best things about the show. Honestly, it's one of the best, most kind of highlighty things about the show. Like Deborah, it was like an actual trademark of her character. Like her cursing in general was like an actual trademark of her character. Like she dropped F-bombs, she dropped shits and bitches and just all sorts of different kind of cusses and everything. So honestly, just a trademark of her character, and the fact that that's the one thing Harrison can remember about her. I think that is the first time we've seen hallucination Deb, Obi-Wan Deb Obi. Yeah, that's a terrible name, but still, hallucination Deb. That's the first time we've seen her smiling, and that's the first time we've seen her smiling about Harrison so far. And until now, all of her kind of Deb, all of her Harrison rants towards Dexter have been about, oh, you need to get him out of it, you need to send him away, you can't have him around here, he's gonna be influenced by you, and he's gonna turn into something bad because of you and everything. This is the first time we've seen her smiling in regards to Harrison. It's the first time, and she's so proud because her dear, darling nephew, even in her lateness and in her death, like he still remembers how she loved to curse and drop bombs and everything. So he still remembers that. Like, yeah, if there was one thing Deborah would have wanted Harrison to remember about her, that would be it. Her F-bombs and her proficiency in using them against people that she hates and people who harm those who hurt her and her loved ones and everything. It's like, that's the one thing she'd be proud of for him remembering. Like, if nothing else, I hope he remembers my F-bombs and uses them with great ferocity and great kind of, just great boldness, just a great boldness. So that's the one thing. So even Ghost Deb being so proud of him for remembering that much about her. So yeah, yeah, that was a sweet scene. So yeah. But then yeah, Kurt is here too. Kurt, he's looking. But I thought he might be looking for a new victim. Thought he might be looking for a new victim. So I mean, yeah, I mean, either way, Kurt is confirmed now to be the motel killer because I am pretty sure that I mean I think it's understandably different seeing it at night versus at like during the day like seeing it at nighttime versus during the daytime is pretty different, but I think it's still I think that little kind of landing thing like the stairs and then the actual landing thing it looks very similar to the one that he still stood out on in the actual coat and the zip up and thing like with the sniper rifle in the last episode. It looks very similar there, and even the trapdoor, the actual trapdoor thing that the previous girl opened up. That one is right out of last episode. So I think that one is the exact same thing too. So we then know that I think the actual hotel room, I think it might as well be underground maybe. So that's even creepier. So that's the whole thing. But then yeah, that proves that Kurt is the motel killer. So I mean, motel room, hotel room. I don't know which fucking one to go with. But he's the killer. He's the actual killer. So that begs the question: why? Like, why is he killing young women out here? Why is he actually killing girls and luring them into shelter with promises of money and safety and everything, and then giving them dodgy freaking champagne and chocolate? I think if you're gonna kill them, one thing you can do is actually give them proper food to eat and everything. But still, I mean, the fact that he kills them is just it goes without saying it's wrong and it needs to be stopped and everything. But yeah, basic question like why is he doing this? Like, how long has he been doing this? I mean, willing to bet Iris would have been the first one. Iris, the first Seneca runaway, that never showed up again. And also Iris had to be the first one. And then that inspired Angela to try and be the change in the system that she wanted to see and everything. So that happened. But then of course Molly shows Angela that one girl, Faith, that one girl who was Seneca ran away, actually ran away to a better situation. She actually ran away to a better life and like a better environment, a better situation. So she ran away to safety and found safety. But the other ones were, knowing how Kurt lures them into, because then he works at the diner, and then he offered I think her name was Chloe, the girl with the green hair and everything. She needed the bus fare, but then I think she said that she got hungry and then she needed like a new coat for the winter, so then she ran out of all the money, so then she just needed more money for the bus fares. And he offered initially. He did offer her like an actual job at the diner and everything to actually like to earn her bus fare as like an actual waitress, and she earned that money and everything. So then that makes me like, why did he take them back there? Like did he? Because I mean, I'm pretty sure in episode 1, Angela mentioned like a shelter to the other girl, right? I think she mentioned a shelter that run by people that would take anyone in, but then that girl refused and actually said she'll be okay and she'll find a place to stay of her own and everything. So I'm wondering like where that shelter in town is. Is that? But then I think I don't know. I mean, unless I think Kurt actually is like pretending that place is a shelter and actually using that place as like an actual shelter cover and actually luring girls there, but only to trap them and to poison them and then to actually have them on the run, only to shoot them again. So that's like it's just like a really creepy cabin out in the middle of nowhere. That's really easily spottable too. But then it's like I think. Is that like an actual? I guess we have to trust that. I guess we have to trust that that's an actual property registered in his name. So then maybe like no questions asked, no questions raised. So then nothing really looks suspicious or anything. So then people don't really question what he does there because he owns the place and stuff. But then that girl was last seen with him. Chloe was last seen with him. Even at the actual diner, that girl was last seen with him. So then maybe if she never shows up again, are there not going to be questions about that? Maybe then. Because then if that girl goes missing, but then I don't know, like, it's a lot of different variables. And then maybe if the girl goes missing, but then if people kind of reach back out and ask where she was last and where she was seen last, and then she's seen at Kurt's diner, and then Kurt is seen as the last one talking to her, because then they report back to him, because then I think he owns the diner. So if that's the case, then that kind of stuff leads straight back to him. But then if that's the case, and if that's what he's done with every other girl, then why would more people not contact him? But then if she's a runaway, then no one really cares if she really is just on the runaway, because then I think they expect runaways to come back. So then maybe if they don't hear anything else, then maybe they either really don't care, or they assume that the runaways must have found their way back home, and that's why no one's really calling in to check in about them or anything. So then even worse, he's exploiting runaways and homeless young women and people looking for shelter and safety. And good lord, oh god, Kurt, you absolute fucker. So Kurt Caldwell, he's the motel killer. He lures young women into his little underground motel of death, and then he poisons them, and then he shoots them in the back, and just, oh god. And he bought a little gift for Harrison. I think Harrison was being glorified as a hero. Like, he was being glorified the crap out of in this episode as a hero. People were, like, even the kids at school calling him a hero. And even Kurt bought him a present. Kurt bought him a drone. He actually bought him a drone. Like, he actually bought him a present for being the hero and everything, for keeping the town safe and all that jazz and stuff. So he actually bought him a drone and everything. So I want to say more than he's ever done for Matt, but then he's been covering up Matt's messes for years. He's been covering up and he's been cleaning up his messes, and he's been paying off any damage that Matt's caused for years and everything. So there's that. But then of course I think even Matt's excuse was the fact that Matt's excuse was that his mother died, so he didn't have like a mother figure in his life, and then of course his dad was neglectful of it. His dad was neglectful of him, so that's why he just kind of did anything and then got away with anything. So then he just kind of didn't really care what kind of trouble he got into. He just did anything. But then even Kurt expressed regret in Matt's upbringing, being like, he was he never mentioned he was never there for him, but then he said that he was the reason that Matt was so fucked up, and then if he had actually noticed it earlier, he could have done something about it instead of actually letting him hurt all these people. So then I think deep down, I think even Kurt never explicitly mentioned. I'm not remembering Kurt explicitly mentioning that he was never there for him, or that he was neglectful or he was absent or anything. But he did kind of say that if he had noticed earlier on, then maybe he could have actually helped Matt, and he could have actually kind of prevented him from being as bad as he was, and he could have actually done something about it. But then, so now he's like now he's apparently just living with that kind of remorse and think, oh wait, so I mean I'm wondering, maybe he was so absent because he was killing all those women. Maybe he was actually absent because he was actually, for one thing, he was constantly working at the diner too. Maybe for one thing, he was actually constantly at the office working at the diner. But then also, even then, he was still finding young girls actually looking for shelter and money at his diner, and then he was luring them back to his cabin to kill them. So maybe that's why he was so absent. Because then over the it's been lots of women over the years. It's been quite a few women over the actual years. So then maybe before that, maybe before Iris, it was like some other stuff. Maybe it was actually some depression and some grief from from his wife's death, and then maybe after that it was him, from like through whatever means, through whatever reason, him channeling that grief and channeling that kind of darkness into his own murderous kind of spree across Iron Lake and everything. So I don't know, maybe could have been a thing. So then yeah, and then of course Matt. Matt. I think he never really had. I think Matt never really had like any kind of dark passenger. I think he just kind of like he was neglected, and he just kind of got away with a lot. He got away with a lot because he could do anything, and he had the money, and he had like the room and the power and everything. So then he did anything, and of course his father was known to clean up after him for everything. So then he kind of used that to get away with everything. So like he knew his father would always back him up and bail him out and do whatever he needed to do and everything. And he probably get like a lecture or something. He'd probably get like yelling or a lecture, but then that would be the worst of it. And then he just kind of move on and do the next fucked up thing. So, oh god, yeah, just the father and son duos in this show are just not really the best, are they? Father and son duos in this show, not necessarily the best. So yeah, just, oh, good Christ. Okay, so yeah, that's Matt and Kurt. That's Matt and Kurt for you. So yeah, and I think it was interesting seeing kind of even Harrison's own reaction to that story kind of grow weaker and weaker across the episode too. Like to begin with, he is incredibly emotional and incredibly human about it, and like the polar opposite of Dexter. But then I think after we see Dexter kind of slowly discover, as we see Dexter slowly discover the truth and actually find the holes in Harrison's story. We even see Harrison even on his own reacting with other people, like him actually growing more and more weary and actually growing more and more worried that people might find out that this isn't the truth, and even him being more and more aware that this isn't the truth and that he did attack Ethan first. And then to make things worse, he's being glorified. People are calling him the hero and celebrating him and actually congratulating him and actually thanking him for saving their town and everything, but then even Ethan's parents are blaming him, saying you should have come to us and you should have told us when you first noticed that something was wrong and everything. So there's that whole thing. So I think even Harrison kind of getting his own fair share of guilt and remorse, and I think that kind of stuff too, kind of even that kind of stuff goes to show that, you know, he does kind of feel, because I think Dexter never had that. Dexter never felt guilty about the ones he killed and the ones he harmed, because then he genuinely believed that he was doing the right thing and everything. And I think he did have the very rare visions of people thanking him, and people. I think there was that one vision he had of like people throwing him like a parade and thanking him for doing what he does and everything. But then that was like a one-time thing. It was like a vision and everything. So I think he never once felt remorse for what he did. He never once felt regretful for what he did. He always believed it was like the right thing, and that this was also his way of coping. So then that's how he dealt with the ethics of that. But then Harrison is far more human, I think, and I think because of that, he feels guilty for the fact that he did it. He feels guilty because of the fact that, you know, he told the story that people now believe, and he feels even guiltier because people are now celebrating him as something he's not. So then he feels all that kind of remorse, and I think that alone goes to show that he's actually so much more different. He's so much more different than Dexter, because then he believes that, because I think he believes that even if Ethan did have problems, and even if Ethan might have been kind of strongly veering towards doing what he was going to do, or doing what he said he was going to do, he still didn't deserve to be attacked. He still doesn't deserve to die. He's not like he's like a troubled kid, but he's not like a bad kid. He's not like a future criminal in waiting or anything. So then he still believes he deserved help. Ethan deserved help. He deserved someone to listen to him, someone to talk to. He deserved an actual grown adult to try and help him and try and help him out through his problems. But like the people that Dexter killed were genuine, dark, twisted, remorseless, and convicted criminals who slipped through the cracks, and people that the justice system had actually failed to stop and everything. So with him, it was like, you know, he's just finishing the job. Like for Dexter, he was finishing the job that the justice system started and everything. So, you know, in Dexter's eyes, he was genuinely doing a public service to the people and actually saving them from active threats. But with Harrison, I think he knows that he actively hurt someone who didn't deserve to be hurt and just deserved to be listened to, but then also told that this wasn't the way to do things and that there's a better way, and that, you know, like, help is here and you deserve help and you deserve to be listened to and all that kind of stuff. So I think because of that, he feels all the more guilty, knowing that he went too far and he actually took the more extreme route of stopping someone from doing something terrible, when he could have just actually tried to be a bit more kind of civil and like a lot less harmful about it. So going to be interesting seeing how that kind of a decision actually kind of affects him in the story moving forward, and how it affects Dexter too. So yeah. And now we even have Molly. Molly was around too, and she was actually being the kind of she was still kind of actually trying to build something up for the podcast, and actually trying to build some story and stuff up for the podcast, and trying to get details and everything. So that was that. And then even towards the end, she even offered to actually pull their resources together too, like Angela and her actual legal police resources, and then even her and her true crime and stuff, and even her actually, like, even her having posted those pictures and she sent them out, and then people came flooding back in with actual, I mean, for the one girl, for Faith, the people came back in with pictures and they actually sent back in information actually supporting her current whereabouts and her continued status of being alive and everything. So then there was that, but then for the other girls there was nothing, so then that proved that the other girls are still missing and or dead, but then Faith was actually still alive and well and kicking and everything. So then that kind of proved that, you know, like, it proved that, you know, as much as there might be aspects of her job that Angela disagrees with when it comes to Faith, there are still ways that she can help, and there are ways that she can actually be like an actual positive kind of helping hand. So now going forward, Angela, Molly might even be like an actual kind of ally of the Iron Lake PD. So that was cool too. Yeah, kind of got me wondering about how exactly true crime is actually just how much and like to what extent and at what points true crime is more kind of heavily involved in kind of these kinds of crimes and investigations. Because then I think, because I feel like especially if it's like an ongoing investigation too, I think they're far less likely to actually allow like a podcast to you know to be involved with that too. Because I think podcasting is very, very different from the news. So the news is there, they are kind of very much more obliged to actually report on the current stuff and the current details and to actually get the word out to citizens. But then like a podcast is more for like, I mean, podcasts can be for entertainment value, but then it's also it's also like podcasts podcasts are also like listening to I think true crime podcasts anyway. I think those would be more like listening to actual documentaries. And I think with true crime podcasts, I feel like they would be much more likely to have access to information and have access to deep kind of investigation assets and information once the investigation has been closed, once it's been over, or once they know all the details, they've convicted someone, or they've actually come to a conclusion of some kind. I feel like it's at that point that a true crime podcast might be more likely and more liable to actually have access to that kind of information to actually put out on the internet for people to know about and listen to and everything. So yeah, so I mean, it was still interesting to actually see her kind of still being able to actually kind of be like that interactive and that engaged with Angela and with the investigation and everything. So that was still fun. But yeah, I mean, even the whole Matt call, the Matt thing too. So apparently he's in New York. Apparently, like the little that Kurt remembers from the video call was that he's in a hotel in New York and he might be high because he looked like he was off asleep or something. So apparently there's that. But then even Molly actually raised that good kind of point of like, oh, he illegally shoots a white buck and like he commits this crime, then he disappears, and he suddenly pops up and he's in a whole other state, in a whole other city, and he's apparently fine and he's just kind of recovering or whatever. But I think that's gonna raise questions too. And I think if they really are gonna take that video call and that stuff into account and take it seriously, then that means that the investigation is still back on. But then of course they're not really gonna find anything in New York. So I mean, don't know if that's really going to be a point that if it's going to be a point they actively pursue, or if maybe because then none of them could reach him. Not Angela could reach him. No one on the force could really reach him or actually get into proper touch with him. So then apparently Kurt was the only one. So then even Kurt said, I'll try him, but don't know if he's going to pick up or whatever. So really raises question. For A, if he was telling the truth, or if he was just really optimistic and he lied, or maybe he was drunk or something. And B, if he was telling the truth, then what did he see? Because he has pictures. He has pictures on his phone, but then we didn't see if he has any videos of Matt on his phone that he could have actually misconstrued in his drunken state as like an actual video call or something, or maybe if like someone on the other end actually wasn't messing with him or playing with him or something. So there's that question. But now I think, whoever is messing with him, then they have, a lot to explain as to why they're doing it. But then, I don't know. Like, I feel like, there's a decent enough chance it might also just be him kind of imagining things, or him being too hopeful and just kind of hallucinating, or even dreaming. Maybe he actually woke up. Maybe he actually passed out while drinking and actually woke up from a dream that he talked to Matt or something. So, or that he saw Matt or something. So I don't know, but I mean, if they're gonna take that case into consideration, then it's gonna be like a yet another kind of little bonus round of searching for Matt freaking Caldwell. So who knows? But that was also another tidbit. That was another thing. So there's that. But yeah, that is pretty much all I got from this one. So yeah, some deep stuff about Harrison. Some pretty deep stuff about Harrison and his potential dark passenger waiting to be uncovered and discussed by the original dark passenger holder himself, Dexter freaking Morgan. So there's that. Then there's Kurt being the motel killer and everything. So he's now nabbed another victim, which is Chloe, and I really don't know if she's going to survive, but here's hoping. Yeah, that was Dexter New Blood, Season 1, Episode 4. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment what your thoughts are on this episode and what you're looking forward to, and what your theories are on Harrison having like a potential dark passenger, and Kurt finally being revealed as the motel killer, and any other kind of theories you got for the stuff coming up soon. The full-length reaction, for those interested, is going to be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So until the next time, bye bye for now.